Welcome to Silent Seniors No More. Before we start, a quick note. I'm not an attorney and I'm not giving legal advice. This podcast simply shares real experiences, public documents, and the Florida statutes that affect residents living in mobile home parks. The goal of Silent Seniors No More is to help people understand what is happening in their communities and encourage them to ask informed questions. For legal advice, always speak with a qualified attorney. This episode is letters and emails. Letters that echo when the system doesn't answer. How many letters does it take before someone listens? How many emails before someone responds? And what happens when every agency meant to protect you says they can't? Yes, this is Silent Seniors No More, and today's episode is about time. Time spent writing, documenting, and believing that somewhere, someone would step in. It starts with a letter, carefully written, rewritten, because when you're not an attorney, your words matter even more. You write the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation because you're told they oversee Chapter 723. So you think this is where help begins. And then the response comes. We do not have the authority to enforce Chapter 723. The agency you were directed to. The agency tied to the statute. The agency you trusted cannot enforce the law. That's the moment everything changes, because now you realize you're not just dealing with a dispute, you're dealing with a gap in the system. So you keep writing to the Attorney General, to the state officials, to anyone that might listen, and each letter carries more facts and carries hope. To the office of Governor Ron DeSantis, this is not a political statement. This is not an attack. This is a request for clarity and leadership. Residents across Florida are being told that the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation oversees Chapter 723, yet when complaints are filed, we are told that they have no authority to enforce it. So we ask, who does? Where do residents go when their rights under Chapter 723 are violated? What agency is responsible? Not just in theory, but in practice. Because right now, residents are navigating a system where responsibility feels unclear, enforcement feels absent, and accountability feels out of reach. We are asking respectfully for your office to look into this gap, to provide guidance, and to provide direction, and if necessary, to provide change. Because these are not isolated incidents. These are seniors. These are communities. These are Floridians trying to understand where to turn. And we are ready to be heard. That message just isn't mine. It belongs to every resident who has written a letter, filed a complaint, and waited. Because when enforcement is unclear, it creates space for things that shouldn't happen. If you're listening and you have insight, if you've worked inside these agencies, if you understand how decisions get made, if you have a connection that can bring attention to this, now is the time. Because sometimes all it takes is one person hearing this and deciding to act. Until then, we keep writing, we keep documenting, we keep speaking, because silence is no longer an option. This is Jamie Chiarla with Silent Seniors No More. If no one answers the letters, we make sure they're going to hear our story.